thank you for joining me today. I'm sorry I wasn't able to go live, so this is just a recording that I did ahead of time for you guys. So we are going to start seated again today. So if you have a pillow or a blanket or something that can bring your hips just slightly off the floor, it's helpful to lift our hips up just to allow our spine to be a little more level and also to lengthen our spine. So just begin to breathe and give yourself space. As you start to notice your breath, inhale deeply and exhale slowly. You can have your legs folded. If that's not comfortable for you, you can always bring your legs long as well, whatever feels best for you today. And allow your arms to just rest right over your thighs. So your elbows can be directly under your shoulders, just hanging heavy, and your hands can be resting to your knees or thighs. And again, just deepening the inhale without manipulating too much or forcing. Lengthening the exhale. And if it's comfortable, you can pause at the top of the inhale before you exhale as well. Fill that belly with air and exhale and empty that belly. So imagining that you're blowing up a balloon, and as you breathe in, you're expanding the balloon open. And exhaling, emptying the balloon and letting all that air squeeze out. Just a few more breaths like that. Inhale, filling the belly, expanding the ribs, opening up the chest. Exhale, emptying the belly, softening, allowing the tension to release down the back and out into the floor. And one more deep inhale. Open mouth. Long exhale. Bring the hands to your sides. Palms facing up. Inhale, bring the hands up. Touch the palms. Exhale the hands down to the chest. Point the fingertips away from the body and extend the arms forward, rounding the upper back. So pushing out with the hands here. Exhale, inhale, open the chest up here. So hands out to the side, maybe even slightly back. Really opening up the chest, lifting the sternum up towards the sky, lifting the chin. Exhale, hands to the front of you again. Inhale, bring the hands back to the chest. Inhale, exhale, release the hands to the sides again. This time just the left palm is facing up. Inhale and lengthen the left side waist. Reaching, 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 and then walk the right hand over to the right and lean the left hand over. So palm is facing down towards the floor. The left hip is still on the mat or the floor here. Really reaching and lengthening the side waist. So reaching out with the left fingertips here. Dropping that right shoulder at the same time. So we don't want to hold the shoulder up to the ear here. Inhale, bring the hand back down. And then the right hand, inhale up. Reach and lengthen. So fingertips pointing up towards the sky. And then walk the left hand over to the left. Drop that left shoulder. reaching out with the right hand all the way over to the left. Inhale back up and exhale back down. Inhale both hands back up again, and this time we're going to twist. So bring the right hand behind you, left hand in front of you. Inhale and lengthen the spine on the twist. Exhale and soften into the twist a little bit more. Maybe bringing the left hand to the right knee. Maybe not. Leave it in the front if it's more comfortable. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, soften into the twist a little deeper. Inhale, bring the hands back up above you. Lengthen, reach and really lengthen that spine. Exhale, bring the left hand behind you, right hand in front of you. Inhale and lengthen the spine. Exhale and soften to your twist. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale and soften. Inhale the hands back up and exhale them back down to your sides. This time we're going to walk our hands in front of you. So just bring the hands in front and walk them out into a forward fold here. Keep breathing. Notice if there's any areas that are holding on to tension here and try to bring your breath into those areas. And then walk the hands back in. Lean back slightly and untuck, and then retuck the other leg in front of the leg that you just had crossed. And then walk your hands forward again. One side might feel differently than the other. Just notice. Inhale, walk the hands back up. And take a breath here, hands to the thighs again. And then we are going to drop the head, so bringing the chin towards the chest, nice and gently, and then rolling the chin over to the right. So your face is still facing forward, but the ear is over towards the right shoulder here. So we're not bringing the shoulder up to the ear, we're just letting gravity drop the ear, the right ear towards the right shoulder. So feel the stretch in the left side of the neck here. It may feel really tight. Just notice. And then bring the chin towards the collarbone so you're looking down at your lower diagonal. And then back to face front. Bring the head down towards the midline and then over to the right, or the left, sorry. The right side is being stretched this time. So left ear to the left shoulder. Again, not hiking the shoulder up, but allowing the gravity to just bring the left ear towards the left shoulder. Keep breathing. And then turn the face so you're looking down towards your mat. Your chin is towards your shoulder blade. Turn the face front again. Roll the head back down through center. Before you lift your head, keep your chin towards your chest and bring the heels of your hands to your forehead. And then with a little bit of resistance, push the forehead into the hands and push the hands into the forehead. So we're just giving a little bit of traction to the neck here, the back of the neck. So release that tension and then lift the head with the hands. So allow your hands to lift and then bring the hands to the back of the head, palms to the back of the head, and push the head again against the hands, against the palms, and push the hands into the head. So we're kind of giving the neck and the bottom part of the skull here a little bit of traction. So you can also bring your thumbs, release that tension, and then bring your thumbs to the base of your skull and just lift slightly at the base of the skull. So again, just that area of our neck is always holding the weight of our head, always creating tension from different things that we're doing. So if we're giving it a little bit of space, a little bit of attention and love here. And then release the hands back down. Roll the shoulders up and back. So inhaling forward and up. Exhaling back and down. Inhale forward and up. Exhale back and down. 2 more times here. Good, and then let the shoulders release, and we'll come into table pose and hands and knees. So move your prop off to the side. You can also pad your knees if you're on a hard surface, or if you have knee sensitivity at all, you can put a blanket under your knees. Palms and fingers nice and wide. And so your hands are right under your shoulders and your knees are directly under your hips. So you're in a nice square table pose here. And then inhale, exhale, empty the belly and round the spine here, looking down at the knees or thighs. Inhale, melt the chest towards the floor, slightly arching into cow pose. Cat pose, arching the back, looking down at the knees or thighs, separating the shoulder blades. Inhale, melting the chest towards the floor, bringing the shoulder blades together here. And then one more time. Exhale, empty the belly, arching the back. And then bring the spine back to neutral. And we'll just reach the right foot out behind you. So keeping the heel or the ball of the foot on the ground, we're just going to begin to give our hamstrings a little bit of space here. So pushing out through the heel of the right foot and just feeling the length in the back of the calf here. And then come back up on the ball of the foot and lift the leg up off the ground so the toes are pointing towards the floor. Bring the weight into your right hand and lift your left hand. Stay focused for balance. Maybe find a spot that's not moving in front of you that you can just focus on. Exhale, release the hand, release the right knee, and then repeat on the left side. So reaching out with the left heel, pushing out and stretching, making that nice straight line in the back of the calf here. Pushing out with the heel. And then inhale the leg back up. So toes are pointing directly towards the floor. Bring the weight into the left hand and reach out that right hand in front of you. So balance your table. Stay focused for balance. Exhale and release the hand, release the knee. And then bring the hands just like about a hand width in front of you, or hand length in front of you, I should say. And then bring your hips back, not to your heels, but just back up into your diagonal here, and lower your head down towards the mat. We're not going into a full child's pose, but this is called a puppy dog pose. So right before we go into our down dog. So wrapping the upper arm bones down towards the floor, reaching out with the arms, lengthening, reaching up with the hips, and then come forward, tuck the toes under, and begin to work your way into downward dog with knees bent to start. So lift the hips up towards the sky, bring the chest towards the thighs, reaching out with the hands towards the floor, and begin to just maybe pedal out your legs here. So your knees are nice and bent to start, but you can begin to alternate the legs to straighten the knees.
Maybe moving back and forth, and if it feels good, you can also move your hips back and forth just slightly. Maybe lift all the way up on your toes and then bring your heels down towards the floor, straightening the legs a little more. Inhale, look forward between your hands and then begin to walk your feet forward into standing forward bend. So hang from the hips. Allow your head to relax into the pose. Bring your hands towards the floor, to the floor. And notice that my knees are still bent here. So if you want to still have a bend in your knee, that's perfectly fine. Your hamstrings might not be warmed up quite yet. Maybe shake your head no. Nod your head yes. Try to let all the tension that you're holding just release out of the crown of your head here, out of your fingertips. Just let your head go. Bring the weight into your heels and push into your heels and allow yourself to just rise up into mountain pose. So allowing your head to be the last thing to come up. And when we think about mountain pose, we think about the foundation of the rest of our poses. So I'm going to turn this way so you can see me, but still facing the short edge of your mat. So we're finding the midpoint of your feet here. So kind of going into the inner arches here, and you're lifting the inner leg line up, pushing the outer leg line down to really root into the ground here. So you're imagining the mountain being strong and stable, bringing the navel to the spine, dropping the tailbone between the heels here, rolling the shoulders back and open, keeping the ribs nice and tucked in so we're not arching our back like this. We're trying to keep a nice stable hip, pelvis area. Inhale, bring the hands up all the way above you. Oops. Reaching and lengthening out the fingertips, touching the palms, and bringing the hands to the heart. And then we're going to forward fold again. So I'm going to come back this way. I don't know why I turned, but forward fold here. So bring the hands back down towards the floor, releasing the head down. And then halfway lift. So bring the hands to the shins here, straight back, parallel with the floor. And then release back down to standing forward bend. And step back to downward dog. So reach the feet back. One more breath in downward dog. And then come forward into plank. So you're rolling onto your balls of your feet and your shoulders are over your hands again. And maybe lower your knees here so that we can come down to our belly. So bring yourself down, bending your elbows, and come down to knees, chest, and chin if you can. Keeping your hips elevated off the floor. And then release the hips down, release the feet flat to the floor. And then we're first going to come into low cobra. So bringing the hands to the sides of the low ribs and then just lifting the chest and the shoulders up above the floor, lifting your head just slightly, and then release back down. Pillow your hands in front of you, so keeping your palms stacked here, and then lower the forehead to your hands and just breathe here. So feel your belly expanding against the floor. Notice your ribs opening and expanding with the inhale. Softening into the floor with the exhale. And then lift the head. Bring your hands back to the side of you. And come up into Sphinx pose. So the elbows are underneath the shoulders here. The hands are in front of you, palms facing the floor, or flat on the floor, and just looking up in front of you. So lifting the chest here. Inhale and exhale, and then lower back down. Come back into table pose. Lift the chest, the belly, and the hips at the same time if you can. And then come back into downward facing dog. Walk the hands forward into standing forward bend. Release the head down. Releasing the low back here. Come up to a half lift, so hands to the shins. Flat back. And then fold down again. We're going to come to a lunge now. So if you have blocks, I'll demonstrate with blocks. If you don't, you can certainly just use, just have your hands down to the floor. So reach the left foot back and then lower the left knee down. Actually, I'll try to do it without the blocks so you can see. And then just kind of come forward so you can come up on your fingertips to give yourself a little more space. And just come forward and feel the stretch and the length in your front of your left hip here. And then maybe bring your hands to your right knee and just lift the chest up. Keep breathing. Hands back down to your sides of your feet. Lift the left knee up and come into a high lunge. And again, if you have blocks here, you can use them. Or if you have something akin to blocks, you can use. And then if you feel stable, bring your right hand to your hip, bring your left hand to your hip, and begin to come up. So lift the chest up here. Stay here if this is good for you. If you want to go further, release the hands and lift all the way up, pointing the fingertips up towards the sky, maybe gazing upward if it's comfortable. Toes are pointing up towards the short edge of the mat still, parallel. Inhale and exhale, release the hands back down. And then bring your right knee into your chest and bring it back to meet your left foot. And come back into downward facing dog. Look forward between your hands and walk your feet forward into standing forward bend again. So release any tension in the neck here. Again, shake your head no. Nod your head yes. Allow yourself to really release into the pose. And then bring your hands to your hips, elbows pointing up. Push into your heels to come all the way up into mountain pose again. Release the hands. Inhale up. Prayer hands. And exhale, bring your hands to your heart. And then exhale back down into standing forward bend. Inhale halfway up, straight back. Exhale and fold. This time we're going to step back with the right foot, so keeping the left foot forward, bending that left knee, and then releasing the right knee down to the floor. Untuck the toes so the toes are pointing back. And again, you can come up on your fingertips here, or if you have blocks, you can also use blocks. So lifting the chest up, releasing the right hip this time. So really allowing yourself to fold into the pose. And then come back on the right knee and bring your hands to your left knee and lift the chest up here. So the right hip comes forward, the left hip comes back and in. And then come back to your blocks. Tuck the right toes under and lift the right knee up. So coming into a high lunge this time. When you feel ready and stable, bring your left hand to your hip, bring your right hand to your hip and lift all the way up into a high lunge. Release the hands and lift them all the way up towards the sky, fingertips pointing up. Maybe gazing upward, lifting the chest towards the sky, lengthening the side waist, and then release the hands back down. Move the blocks off to the side. Bring your foot back to downward facing dog again. And we'll come forward into plank again. So again, you can lower your knees if you want to come into a half plank here. And then come all the way down to your belly, however you can. And again, we can do low cobra. If you're feeling really pliable, you can come up to downward dog. Whatever feels best for you right now. And then lower down to the belly and come back into Sphinx again. So bring the hands in front of you. Elbows underneath the shoulders, palms on the flat on the floor. And this time we're going to look over the right shoulder. So bring your head over to the right and look down towards your right heel. Come back to center and then look down towards the left heel. And come back to center here. And then lower back down to the belly, hands to the side waist. Inhale back up to table pose here, and then come back up to downward facing dog again. This time we're going to just bring the right foot forward into a lunge, and instead of coming all the way forward, pivot on the left heel here, so you're coming to the long edge of your mat, and then pivot on the right heel, so both your feet are facing towards the long edge of your mat, and just come into a forward fold with a wide angle stance. So your legs are spread apart and you're coming down into a fold again. The hands can be directly under your face, or you can bring them in line with your feet if you have that range of motion. So whatever feels right to you, but try to release the head as best you can here. And then bend the right knee and come into the right leg here a little more. So you're stretching out the left inner thigh. Come back to center and bend the left knee, stretching the right inner thigh. And then come back to center. Go ahead and bring your hands to your hips and come all the way up. And then pivot the right heel so the right toes are pointing towards the short edge of the mat. And then we're gonna bend that right knee. So we're coming into a warrior two stance with our feet. So bend that right knee, keeping the hips square to the long edge of the mat. Raising the hands up, so palms facing up to start. And then turn the palms to face down, looking over the right hand, and breathe. Warrior two. Release the left hand down to your left thigh, and then bring the right arm up and over the head in a reverse warrior. Release the hands and bring the right forearm to the right knee, keeping that knee bent, and then sweep the left arm up and over the head again into extended side angle. Inhale back up to warrior two. Hands to the hips, straighten that right leg. Check in with your feet and make sure they're still in good alignment. We're gonna move into triangle pose. So bring the right hand up in front of you, palm facing away from you, and begin to lengthen and reach forward. Lengthen and lengthen before you fold over. If you do have a block, you can place it right outside of your right foot. If you don't, you can always just place your hand down by your shin or ankle here. And then open the chest, open the left shoulder, and release the hand above the head here. So this is triangle pose. Bend the right leg and then come back up into warrior two. And straighten the leg again, come back into your wide angle stance. Let's heel toe back in and stand in mountain pose here for just a moment. Inhale the hands up, palms touch to prayer hands, and bring your hands to your chest and just check in here. Reconnect with your breath. Good, and then we're gonna come back into our wide angle stance. Let's do another forward fold here. So again, just bring your hands down in front of you, release the head. Try to let any residual tension drain out of the top of your head, out of your fingertips. Come up on your fingertips here into a half lift. So just like we do when our feet are together, coming into a half lift straight back, and then release back down into a fold. Bring your hands to your hips, move the weight into your heels and come all the way up, and then pivot on the left foot this time. So bending that left leg, coming into a warrior two stance again. So your heels can be aligned here, or the arch of your foot can be aligned with your right arch can be aligned with your left foot. So whatever feels best for your hips. Everybody's hips are different in terms of, being open versus being more tight. So, and then release the hands, palms facing up, arms parallel to the floor. And then turn the palms down towards the floor, looking over the left hand. Warrior two. Release the right hand to the right thigh, reaching the left hand up and overhead this time. And then come back to warrior two and release the left elbow to the left thigh. And reach the right arm up and over this time. Palm facing down towards the floor. Inhale back up to warrior two. Come back to reverse warrior. Right hand down, left arm up. Straighten that left leg. Come back up. And then we're going to come into triangle again. So if you have a block, place it on your side of your left foot. Reach the hand all the way up, palm facing away from the body. Reach and lengthen. Reach, 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 reach. And then come down to a fold. Come down to the left side of your foot or your
inner shin here, whatever works best for your body. And then reach that right arm up. So we're creating a straight line between the left hand and the right hand as best you can. And maybe look up. Maybe if you have some neck sensitivity, just look forward. Right hand back to the hip. Fold into that left knee and come all the way up. And then pivot on the heel again. And heel toe the feet back together. All right, I think we'll do a tree pose today. So you can stay facing the long edge of your mat if you want. The reason I face this way so much is so that you can see me better. So I like to do a tree pose because I like the balance of it, and I think it's important that we work on our balance as much as we can, because it gives us more confidence, I think. So feet are hips distance apart, and let's start with rooting our left foot down. So we're going to bring our right foot up. So if you are most comfortable, if you leave your foot, I'm sorry, this camera is just not doing what it needs to do for you to see my whole body. So if it's best for you to keep your foot on the floor, just turn your knee out so your knee is facing the side of you rather than in front of you. And just leave your toes on the floor. And that's it. And just, you're just bringing your heel to the ankle and you're just staying right there. You can leave your hips you can leave your hands on your hips, or you can bring your hands to your chest like this. If you're feeling more stable, you can bring your foot up to your calf. Try to avoid your knee joint here. So if that's still, fairly easy, you want to go further, then you can bring your bottom of your foot all the way up to your thigh. Hold on to the wall if you need to. So pushing that foot into your thigh here to create some stability. You can keep your hands on your hips and stay focused for balance again. So find a stability point, a focal point in your room, something that's not moving, and look at that while you're trying to balance. Bring your hands to your chest in a prayer pose if you'd like. If you want to keep going further, you can bring your hands above your head. And if you want to grow your tree, you can bring your hands out to the sides. So you decide. This pose is very adaptable and can be totally what you want it to be. Release the hands back down. Bring the knee in front of you straight, and then shake out your legs. So the thing that I like about this pose is the idea that you're rooting the foot, the standing foot, you're rooting into the ground, just like a tree root. So you really want to focus on that stability and pushing that foot into the floor, creating that groundedness. And again, so we're going to go on the left side here. So rooting the right foot into the floor, turning that knee out to the side, and again, keeping your toes on the floor if you want, and just bringing your heel to your ankle. Stay there. Or bring it up to your shin or your calf. Again, avoiding that knee joint. Or bring it all the way up to your thigh if you're feeling stable today. Reach out for your wall when you need to. Trying to keep your body as straight as you can. Keeping your knee out to the side. Bring your hands to your chest in a prayer. Grow your tree if you want to come all the way up above your head. This side is not as stable for me. And then open the hands out if you want to go all the way into tree. Keeping yourself focused for balance.
Release the hands to the hips again and bring the knee out in front of you. Release those legs. Very good. All right. So now we're going to come down to our mat again. I moved my camera. I'm very sorry about that. Let's hope it doesn't fall. Okay, so come into seated with your feet flat on the floor. And we're going to come down and onto our backs slowly. So you can have your hands in front of your knees, or you can have them behind your thighs. And then just begin to rock back on your sacrum and your low back here a little bit. And then bring your right foot in front of you and straighten that knee out. And just feel the balance here. And then bring that foot back down and bring the left foot in front of you and push out with your left heel. And then bring the left foot back down. If you feel stable, if you want, you can just continue to alternate a few more times. If you're feeling stable and you want to try both, bring both feet out in front of you and really rock onto that sacrum area here. And if you want to go even further, bring the hands out to the sides into a boat pose. Otherwise, just keep your hands to your backs of your thighs. And then release the feet back down. And we'll just roll down one vertebra at a time, all the way down to your back. Bring your hands to your low belly and just reconnect to your breath here. So allow the bones to settle into the floor here. Inhaling into the belly, expanding. Exhaling and softening the bones and the muscles. And then bring the right knee into the chest and hug it in. Take the right knee into the left hand and then lengthen the left leg out, pushing out with the heel, and bring the right knee over to the left, just slightly over the midline here. So it's always helpful too to keep your feet flexed when you're doing these stretches, just to protect the knee joint. And then bring the knee back to center and release it back down to the floor, or release your foot back down to the floor. Bend the left knee and bring the left knee into the chest. Hold the knee with the right hand and straighten the right foot, or straighten the right knee, and bring the left knee over to the right, just slightly. And then bring the knee back to center, release the foot back down. This time, cross the right ankle over the left knee, and then bring the left knee back into the chest. And really feel the stretch in the back of the the back of the right thigh here and the glutes. Release the left foot back down, and before you uncross the knee or the ankle, bring the right foot to the left side here into a little bit of a twist. Inhale the legs back up, release the right foot back down, and then cross the left ankle over the right knee and bring the right knee into the chest here. So one side might feel a little bit more difficult, a little tighter, perfectly normal. Most of us have
two different feeling sides here. And then release the right foot down and bring the left foot down over to the right before we, keeping the ankle crossed here. Inhale back up and release the ankle again. Feet flat on the floor. Bring the feet wider than hips distance. Maybe if you have a mat, bring them over to the sides of your mat so you can feel the edges of your mat with your feet. And then bring the arms into cactus arms, so kind of like goalpost arms here, if you will. So bending the elbows, palms facing up, so they're nice and open. The chest is open here. And then lower the knees over to the right, flexing the left foot. So your feet are still far apart, but you're just lowering your knees. So really thinking about lengthening the left knee towards the front edge of your mat, lengthening that hip here, and then reach the left arm up and overhead. So you're creating a straight line between your left knee and your left hand. Really lengthening the side waist here. And then release the hand back down, bring the knees back up, and release the knees over to the left, flexing the right knee, or the right foot, lengthening the right knee towards the front of the mat, and then reaching the right arm up and overhead. Good. Release the hand back down. Bring the knees back to center, and then walk the feet back in. And bring the hands back to the sides of you, palms flat on the floor. We're going to come into a bridge pose. So feet should be still hips distance apart. Begin to push into the heels to bring the hips off the floor. Lift the hips up towards the sky, keeping the chest nice and open here. Keep breathing. So release any clenching in the jaw or tongue. And then slowly roll the spine back down. Stay here for a moment. And then hug the knees into the chest. Rock back and forth, massage out the low back a little bit. And maybe circle the knees together. Reverse that circle. And then just open the knees and bring the knees out to the armpits. Do kind of a modified happy baby pose here. Just a last pose, the last stretch. Bring the knees back together and then set up for Shavasana. So Shavasana is the final resting pose that you can lay flat and just have your arms and legs kind of open wide. You can lay on a pillow or blanket. If it's comfortable for you to lay on a bolster, you can roll your blanket along your spine and stretch out that way. Whatever's most comfortable for you for today. And just lay down into a resting pose. This is also called corpse pose, which sounds kind of morbid, but the tradition of yoga asana, which is what we just did, the idea behind it is to work your body out to a point of being able to sit for meditation. So you're working your body in order to allow your body to relax then, and allow your mind to relax. So just begin to settle into your mat on your back. start to notice the tension leaving your whole body. So begin at your feet and release your toes, release the tops of your feet and your ankles. Release the shins and the calves. Release the kneecaps and the backs of the knees and the thighs. Notice any tension in your legs, just release into the floor. Release the hips and the pelvis. Release the low belly and the inner organs. Release the sacrum and the low back. Feel everything just fall into the floor. Release the ribs and the side waist. Release the shoulder blades and the shoulders. Release the arms, the elbows, the wrists. Notice your bones just melting into the floor. Release your hands and your fingers. Release your chest and your sternum. Release your neck and your throat. Release your jaw, your tongue, and your soft palate. Release your ears, your cheeks, your nose. Release your temples and your forehead. Just feel your whole face soften. Release your eyes. Just allow yourself to melt into the floor just for this moment. I like to bring mindfulness into my practice as best I can and show people that mindfulness is much more accessible than we think. So oftentimes we confuse meditation, the point of meditation, with basically emptying our mind of thoughts. But in reality, we probably aren't able to actually do that. So instead, what we can do is we can accept the thoughts as they come into our mind. Maybe you're thinking about what you're having for lunch next, or what is on your work schedule for the afternoon. So allow those thoughts to come into your mind, but then also allow them to just go. So as easy as they come into our mind, we can also easily let them just float back out. No need to think about anything right now or to give any weight to our thoughts. I have a book that I was going to read out of called Living Your Yoga, and it's all about letting go. It says, detachment is the greatest act of love. I am willing to engage life. This moment is the perfect moment to let go. So not letting go is a form of attachment, right? So if we are attached to our thoughts, then they're given this extra weight that feels too heavy sometimes for us. So I encourage you, as you go about your week and your weekend, to practice detaching from the thoughts as they come and just allow them to come and go. See if you can picture them just leaving your head, especially if there's no point to having them in your mind at that moment. So begin to deepen your breath again, come back into the room, maybe wiggle your fingers and toes. Maybe lift your arms up above you for a full body stretch. And when you feel ready, go ahead and roll over to your left side. Take a breath here. And on your exhale, bring your right hand to the floor and push yourself up, allowing your head to arrive last. Come into a seat. Take another breath here. Bring your hands to your sides, palms facing up. Inhale the hands up. Bring your palms to touch above your head. Exhale the hands to the heart. Lower the head to meet your heart. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Namaste.